Today is the 10-year anniversary of the San Andreas Flight School update. That's right, it came out August 19th, 2014 for the Xbox 360 along with the PlayStation 3. It's probably one of the least popular 2014 updates, but since it is 10 years later, we're going to cover it. And what I mean by we're is I'm bringing in a special guest, my fiance, Riley Blackfox, who happens to be somewhat of an expert when it comes to flying and fighting in GTA Online.
Yes, I am an expert in dog flying.
Yeah, I meant dog fighting.
I know, but it's funny. But yes, I am pretty decent, or I was.
Just a little. I mean, you've knocked off the rust. You've been playing a little bit on the side. So.
Right.
But I thought it'd be cool to bring her in. By the way, she's going to be doing the flying. So don't be like, hey, GB, wow, you're really good at the flying in the flight school in the background. Now it's all hard. She's using poor Wolfstein here to make Wolfstein look good.
Yep.
But anyways, there is something really quick I want to talk about while we're in the hangar is because Riley mentioned something to me that was actually added to GTA Online in the hangar that can quickly teleport you to the flight school.
Yep, that thing. That poster over there.
The poster.
And this was added in Mercenaries, and what was that? Mercenaries
last year? Yeah, last year.
Yeah. So yeah, they added this with Mercenary along with like the dude over there with the cargo. They added.
Yeah, I know about him, but I forgot all about this, and you said you told me about it. It's possible I might have mentioned it in the review, but it's just like one of those things that just slipped out through the cracks of my mind.
Right. But, yeah, they added this, and nobody really said anything too much about it.
Yeah.
It was just, like, there when they re-updated the hangar. But, yeah, it just straight up teleports you there, and then you can just basically start the missions.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but I like it. So, anyways, let us teleport all the way to LSIA from Fort Z, from the hangar, to flight school. And let's check out the different modes. We're just going to highlight them real quick. And then she's going to jump into one. Then we're going to talk about everything else that's featured in the flight school update besides the mode itself. So there it is.
There it is.
The San Andreas Flight School.
All right. So here we go.
Which is still available 10 years later for everybody to play. Doesn't matter if it's last gen, PC, current gen.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can, I guess, take advantage of it. And I think a lot of people don't really know about it, to be honest. Because it's, like I said, it's one of the lesser known updates to the game. 10 years later, it's been buried deep down.
Right.
But what different training exercises do we have?
So we have looping, apparently.
Outside loop?
Yeah, with the laser.
Okay.
This one is okay. Land a Mojo with an engine failure. This one's easy. Then you have chase parachute.
Yeah. That one's easy too because you jump out of the plane, you catch the parachute, then you have to parachute.
Right.
I just never got around to doing these again. Whenever the game came out on the Milked Edition, I just didn't bother. I did like one or two and then I just moved on.
Right. But this one, you won't really learn anything since you never have to catch a parachute.
It's a cool concept, but yeah.
It's more of like a mini game.
Yeah, it's a mini game.
You're never going to be doing this in game.
Yeah.
City landing like a Titan in the city in bad weather. This, I mean, it's okay. It's useful for landing in bad weather, but it's a Titan, so who really flies in a Titan?
Not that many people anymore.
Yeah, unless you're like a random, like a low level.
Or you're having to do it for a mission.
Yeah. Anyways, moving landing. Now this one's actually kind of useful for moving and landing in a tight spot.
Yeah.
Especially if you have to move around like a lot in free mode, and you have to land. This is actually kind of useful.
Yeah, it's cool because the idea is you have this tractor trailer going down the GOH. You're in a Swift helicopter, and the objective is to land on the Swift helicopter. I mean, land on the tractor trailer.
Right. Look at that world record. Somebody did it in less than a second.
Yeah, I'm sure that's totally legit.
Right. Formation flight. This is annoying. You're not going to be doing this a lot.
It's annoying, yeah.
You're usually flying around maybe like next to a player. Most people would just want to kill you. But yeah, this one is you have to be in like the perfect area. And then it'll give you like the goal score. This one's annoying.
Yeah.
The shooting range. This one's also annoying. It's just like you can literally just hold the button for shooting because you have unlimited ammo. Mm-hmm. And then just start spraying that everywhere until you hit the target.
I'd say this is beneficial for players that want to get better at like using the machine guns on the Buzzard or other helicopters. because it just gives you like a target practice for machine guns, so you can work on trying to aim a little bit better if you actually are willing to put forth effort on this one.
Right. I would say there's better ways to practice your
aim,
because there are some modes, or even in free mode, you can practice with certain things in like the map.
Yeah.
So this is 50-50. This one is ground level navigate.
Oh yeah, this one. Oh, you have to go like really low in this one.
I think this one. I think I golded all these ones. So
okay.
I don't remember this one at all.
You start out. You have to go really low, and you have to stay down in the LS River, and you can't get too high, and like it gets more difficult the further down the track you go, all the way to the dam to the very end. I think it ends at the wind farms.
Okay. But I don't remember it.
Yeah, but I used to get so frustrated trying to beat this one.
Then we have collect flags around the map. This one seems super easy.
Yeah.
And then you have follow the leader, which is not that I mean, it's not that bad. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
All right, so while Riley's in the background doing all the awesome flying, because she's the gold star pilot, I'm probably more like a bronze star. We're going to talk about everything else that came in the San Andreas Flight School, which, to be honest, really wasn't that much stuff. But what we did get, along with the flight school, was a flight suit. It was the first time I think they ever added flight suits for players to acquire in the game. We got some new chute designs. We got new parachute bag designs, even though it always goes back to the default one that happened to me a moment ago before we started recording. And I was like, why? Why does it go back to the default, even though if you set it in your interaction menu to the one you want?
Yeah, it is extremely annoying.
It is. And like a decade later, they haven't fixed it.
Yep.
It still does it.
So you just don't even bother changing it.
Yeah, it's kind of pointless at the end. And then, speaking of parachutes, they also, I believe with this update, they added the reserve parachute. I don't know how many people actually bother with the reserve parachutes.
I didn't even buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is you have to actually go and buy it every time. Like, it doesn't automatically give you a reserve parachute. So you have to go to Ammunition. Or maybe you can do it in your interaction menu by now. I don't know for sure, probably not. But in order for you to have a reserve parachute, which is a backup parachute, if the first parachute fails, you have to first buy it at Ammunition. And it's not like a one and done thing. You have to keep buying it over and over again every time you've used it, I believe. So not that many people really use the reserve parachute. There are parachute modes that they have added in the game that require you to also like switch to the backup parachute, the reserve parachute, but it's just one of those things that most people don't really care about when it comes to parachuting. Vehicles. So the only car that we got with this update, the San Andreas Flight School update, was the Cockette Classic. Now, we did get two variations of the Cockette Classic. We got the hardtop and we got the topless. And in my opinion, I think they both look really, really good. But I do recall at this time, most GTA players were not happy with the Flight School update because of the fact that there was only one car. That made a lot of people a little cranky in 2014 that didn't care for the Flight School stuff. But yeah, it was a nice looking car. It still is. And we have to move on now to the aircraft. So we got 3 new aircraft. Well, they were new back then, 10 years ago. We got the Swift helicopter. We got the Miljet, which is what Riley was just flying a moment ago. And then we got the Western Besra, which is probably one of the best jets in the game.
Right.
The only downside about the Western Besra is it has no weapons.
Right, because it's supposed to be like a training jet.
Yeah.
But it still would have been nice to have some weapons on it, considering the agility that it has and the speed, and how nice it feels to handle. Like, it would have been nice to have like at least a weaponized version of it, with non-explosive cannons, of course.
Yeah, just regular cannons. I'm surprised that a decade later, with Rockstar going back and like adding new versions or variations of pre-existing vehicles, that they simply haven't gone back to the Besra and added guns to it. Like, give us a new version of the Besra to purchase with some different like skins, for the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they have yet to do that. I know that players have been, pilots have been asking for that forever. Just give us some guns. That's all we want.
Yep.
But maybe one day they'll give us like a war Besra or combat Besra or whatever they want to call it. A Besra Mark II.
Yeah, there you go.
So along with that, we also got 10 solo flight school missions, which we just went over a moment ago.
Right.
And we got some other jobs too. Base level, we got cleared for landing, contend, crowned airspace, crosswind, drag strip, along with flying low, GTA airheads, holding pattern, need for seed, swift arrival, take the plunge, humane race, under the radar, under the wing. A lot of those you probably never heard from or heard about or know about because Rockstar's probably shelved them. So they probably have been memory hold, especially since Rockstar has, taken some things out of the game. And, sometimes they bring things back and sometimes they don't. So a lot of those we just went over will probably never see the light of day. And I'm sure some of you are like, I've never played those before. Well, I don't blame you. Some of them were races. Some of them were parachuting. But anyways, the last two things I want to talk about is the other two modes that was added to the San Andreas Flight School. G rating, which it was okay. I think it was like capture the flag in planes. So yeah, you had to capture like 15 flags, and you had weapons, hot and cold environments. It was interesting mode, not very popular. But then you had Air Force Zero, and basically it was like two teams. One team was planes of attackers, and then planes of defenders. And the defenders had to protect one plane in particular. I think it was a Vestra. If I'm not mistaken, I think the plane that you were supposed to protect was a Vestra. And a player was in the Vestra, and then you had, I think, two other players in two lasers, and then you had three other players on the opposing team also in lasers, if I remember that correctly. I could be wrong. Or maybe it was just like 2v2, and then a fifth player played the quote-unquote like Air Force Zero. But yeah, that's another mode that a lot of people probably like now have forgotten about, along with G rating and some of the other modes that we just discussed. So yeah, overall that's pretty much it when it comes to the San Andreas Flight School. I think it was an interesting concept by Rockstar, who was doing pretty good for updates in 2014. Like I've already gone over those in previous videos. The same Valentine's Day Massacre, Business Update, High Life Update, I'm Not a Hipster Update, the Independence Day Special Update. Those are pretty decent updates. This one deviated a little bit. It tried to do something different. And the reality is the majority of players in this game like to stay on the ground.
Right.
Unless they're in a broomstick. But only a few people, like Riley, me, and a few others, like flying. We like being pilots. And so it didn't really appeal to as many players in GT Online in 2014. And that's why I think a lot of people didn't really like the San Andreas Flight School update as much. But in conclusion, Riley, what are some things you liked about this update? I know you weren't playing it when it came out.
Right, because I joined in Smuggler's Shrine.
Yeah. So you were not in the game in 2014 when it launched.
Right.
But you've obviously played Flight School. You've gold starred everything on your account.
Right.
So what are some things you've liked about Flight School playing it? What are some things you dislike? What are some things you think they could have done better? And overall, do you think that this actually benefits aspiring pilots in GTA Online?
Okay, so let's start with, I guess, my pros. What did I like? I guess I like the Vestra. And was the Vestra also in there?
No, the Vestra came with the business update.
Okay, so only the Vestra.
Yeah.
Only that. That's the only pro I can say about this update.
That's the only thing you like is this plane.
Yeah, that's it.
It is a sexy plane.
It is. I dislike the Coquette Classic.
You don't like the Coquette Classic?
I personally think it's a very ugly looking car.
Well, it's all subjective, I suppose. But
yeah.
But back then, a lot of us thought she was a looker.
Right. What else is there? Has positive and negative, and is this good for pilots?
Okay.
No, I don't think in reality. I mean, besides flying like normally and helping you to like keep control, it's not really gonna help you to like get better. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because most of the challenges are just like very situational, very niche challenges. It's not like you're really gonna learn anything to help you defend yourself. You're not like, especially for PvP. No, there's nothing here. The only thing that this might help you is learning how to control the helicopters and planes better, and just learning the basics and the controls, which I guess is in the name. I mean, it's flight school, so it's technically supposed to help you, help you learn how to fly. So For that, yeah. But for like helping you to like defend yourself and PvP and helping you do extra maneuvers, it's not really gonna teach you anything. And I think that's it. Pros, cons, and what I think of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to agree, especially when it comes to like players that have been playing the game and are already pilots. Unless you just want to go in and do this to earn a little bit of money and like try and gold all the different like challenges in the flight school just to do it, I think you get a T-shirt for it.
Yeah, I got a T-shirt. You
Yeah.
get an Elitist travel T-shirt.
Yay!
Yeah, it's not worth it at all.
I don't know if it is actually included in career progress now for PS5 and Xbox Series. Probably not. But if it is, then I'm mistaken. So I guess it gives you another reason to do it, I suppose, on current gen. But overall, I like the concept of the flight school update. But a lot of the stuff, like flying information, like you talked about, it's something that we just don't do in the game.
Unless you're doing it with friends.
Yeah, unless you're doing it with friends. I mean, there was a time, I remember, there were some players that were like really wanting to get really good at doing like air shows.
Yeah, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, but that was like years ago. That was a long time ago. And I think that they kind of just gave up. But there was some crews out there that were dedicated to trying to, they would go into a lobby because I was part of one. And they were just really trying to practice doing, like air shows you would see at, obviously air shows like the ones we've been at Barksdale,
Right.
back in 2021 and 2023.
I still remember like me and Penguin, back in like 2019. Me and Penguin were always trying to do all these air shows with Smoke.
Yeah.
Like just the two of us, and we told people, and some people showed up to watch, and
Yeah.
they liked it. It was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then there was also the ones, okay, well it's a free kill, and they just started shooting at us with sniper rifles.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate reality because to do something like that, you basically have to go into a friend lobby and just invite friends to either participate or watch the show. Because if you do it in a public lobby, yeah, some people might be impressed and enjoy the show, but there's always going to be some jerk that comes along in a broomstick
Yep.
or some other weaponized vehicle and ruin the show. So I think that's another reason why it kind of died out, the whole idea of air shows and GTA Online and almost everything else when it comes to this particular update, with the exception of the Besra, and in my opinion, I do like the Coquette Classic, but it's not for everybody. Yeah, I mean, there were some little things they added, but overall, like I mentioned, this was probably the least popular update for GTA Online in 2014 because the majority of players prefer being on the ground. They don't really care to fly planes or helicopters. Some do, but the most rather be in cars or, like I said, broomsticks.
Yeah.
That doesn't really count as flying, though.
Yeah. But I would say I guess as a pilot back then, like if you were in 2014, I mean, whenever this came out,
Yeah.
I would say this would have been pretty good. It wouldn't have been the best because I think Smuggler's Run is like way better.
Yeah.
But like updates back then were like really basic.
Yeah.
So I guess this kind of would have been okay. But honestly, I think another fighter jet would have been nice, like an actual like something to compete with the laser. Because there was nothing but the laser and the Hydra for like the longest time.
Well, this is during a time period where all we had was the laser.
Yeah,
Like,
I could see that getting extremely boring.
Well, it wasn't boring because we actually had to go put some effort to get it. We had to go into Fort Z and get in there and get out with the laser without the military killing us, unless you like called Lester and had them turn a blind eye or whatever. But most of us rather just parachute in, grab the laser, get out.
Right.
And like if you were able to do that, you could easily control a public lobby, as long as you were the only one in a laser back then.
Right.
But they were good times though, and yeah, the San Andreas Flight School update wasn't perfect, but I do give props to Rockstar for doing something a little different, I guess. But they ended up making an even bigger mistake years later with Arena War, because that was another example of them trying to do something different than the usual updates, and once again, wasn't really very well received by the community.
Right.
But we'll save that for another time, maybe. But anyways, happy 10-year anniversary to the San Andreas Flight School update. Once again launched 10 years ago today, August 19th, 2014, on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And thanks again to Riley for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Providing the B-roll while we talked. And feel free to check out our channel, link below in the description section. All right, now we want to know what you think about the San Andreas Flight School update. If you had a chance to try it out, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and do you think there's anything that Rockstar could have done to actually improve the Flight School update? And do you think it is beneficial or not beneficial to new pilots in the game? Your thoughts, views, and opinions, welcome, as always, below in the comments section.
Bye-bye.